Success is not just a matter of talent, intelligence, or luck. While those things can help, they're not the determining factor. What truly separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck is mindset. How you think shapes how you act, and how you act determines the results you get. It's that simple, but the key is understanding that your mindset isn't fixed. You can reframe how you see problems, challenges, and even yourself. And when you make the right shifts, everything begins to change. In this video, we'll explore the simple but powerful mindset shifts that can transform your path and lead to real, sustainable success. Let's start with the most foundational shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. This idea comes from Dr. Carol Dweck's research at Stanford. A fixed mindset believes your abilities are set. You're either smart or you're not, talented or you're not. A growth mindset believes that skills and intelligence can be developed with effort, learning, and persistence. This single belief changes everything. If you think success depends on inborn traits, you'll avoid challenges to protect your ego. But if you believe growth is possible, you'll embrace effort as the path forward. You'll take risks, learn from failure, and keep going when others give up. That's the core of every successful journey. The next mindset shift is to stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I succeed?" Fear is a natural response, but many people let it dominate their decisions. They imagine worst-case scenarios and talk themselves out of bold action. But here's the truth: avoiding risk doesn't eliminate danger. It just guarantees regret. Instead, flip the script. Visualize success. What if your idea works? What if your efforts pay off? What if the risk leads to opportunity? By focusing on the potential upside, you build courage. And courage, not fearlessness, is what fuels progress. Here's another powerful shift: stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you'll feel inspired. Most days you won't. Successful people don't rely on feelings. They rely on systems. They show up whether they feel like it or not. They build routines, create deadlines, and take small steps consistently. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. And ironically, the more disciplined you become, the more motivated you feel. Because progress fuels emotion, not the other way around. Let's talk about failure, because how you see it determines how you use it. The shift here is to see failure as feedback, not final. Most people treat failure as evidence that they're not good enough, but successful people see failure as a teacher. Every failure reveals what didn't work, and that's valuable information. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of a winner. You can either fail and quit or fail and learn. Only one leads to growth. Another underrated shift is moving from comparison to self-reference. In today's world, it's easy to compare your life to everyone else's highlight reel. Social media shows you the best moments of others, and you start to feel like you're behind. But comparison kills confidence. Instead of measuring yourself against others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Are you improving? Are you growing? That's what matters. Success isn't about beating someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. This next mindset change is critical: from scarcity to abundance. A scarcity mindset believes there's never enough. Enough money, enough success, enough opportunity. It makes people hoard, compete, and operate from fear. But an abundance mindset sees the world differently. It believes there's room for everyone to succeed. It values collaboration over competition. It celebrates others' wins because it knows there's more coming. With an abundance mindset, you act from confidence, not desperation. And ironically, that's when opportunity flows toward you. Let's talk about time, because most people are stuck in a short-term mindset. They want results now. They want success today. But that leads to impatience and burnout. The shift here is to think long-term. Success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Jeff Bezos said, "If you're thinking in terms of decades, few people are willing to compete with you." When you think long-term, you make better decisions. You invest in habits, relationships, and skills that pay off later. You stop chasing hacks and shortcuts. You play the real game. Another powerful reframe: from "I have to" "I get to." Language shapes mindset. When you say, "I have to go to work," it feels like a burden. But when you say, "I get to go to work," it becomes a privilege. That tiny shift creates gratitude. And gratitude changes your emotional state. You go from resentment to appreciation, from stress to purpose. Even the most difficult tasks feel lighter when you remember that someone, somewhere, would love to have your opportunity. Here's a mindset shift most people overlook: from business to effectiveness. Being busy feels productive, but it often leads nowhere. Successful people focus on results, not just activity. They ask, "What's the one thing I can do that makes everything else easier or unnecessary?" That's the mindset behind the 80-20 principle. 80% of results come from 20% of actions. Don't confuse motion with progress. Choose actions that matter. Now let's go deeper into the idea of control. One of the most liberating mindset shifts is to focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. So much stress comes from trying to control things outside your influence, people's opinions, external circumstances, outcomes. But real power comes from focusing on your response, your effort, your habits, your attitude. When you shift your energy toward what you can control, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the author of your life. Next is a subtle but powerful one, from problem-focused to solution-focused. When problems arise, most people obsess over them. They analyze, complain, spiral. But successful people shift quickly into solution mode. They ask, what's the next best step? Even if they don't have all the answers, they move forward. That forward motion creates clarity. You don't need to solve everything at once. Just make progress. Focus on solutions, not just problems. Here's another one, from comfort to growth. Growth never happens in your comfort zone. It happens when you stretch, when you do things that feel unfamiliar, risky, or challenging. The problem is that comfort feels good in the short term, but leads to regret in the long term. Growth feels uncomfortable in the short term, but leads to freedom in the long term. The mindset shift is learning to value growth over ease. It's choosing the gym over the couch, the feedback over the praise, the challenge over the shortcut. That's the path to success. This next one is huge. From entitlement to ownership. Entitlement says, I deserve success. Ownership says, I create success. When you take full responsibility for your results, no blame, no excuses, you step into power. That doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you always ask, what can I do about it? That mindset leads to learning, growth, and solutions. Entitlement waits. Ownership acts. Let's talk about setbacks. When things go wrong, most people default to self-criticism. But high achievers shift from criticism to self-compassion. Self-compassion isn't weakness, it's strategic. Studies show that people who are kind to themselves recover faster, perform better, and are more resilient. If you beat yourself up every time you stumble, you drain your energy. But if you support yourself like a good coach, acknowledge the mistake, learn from it, and move on, you stay in the game. Another mindset shift that leads to success is going from information overload to implementation focus. The world is full of knowledge. Courses, books, videos, tips. But knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. Success comes not from what you know, but from what you do consistently. Stop hoarding information. Start executing on what you already know. One action beats 10 insights. Now let's talk about how you see yourself. One of the deepest mindset shifts is to believe that you are capable of change. So many people are stuck because they've decided who they are. I'm lazy. I'm not good with money. I'm not creative. But these are not facts, they're stories. Stories you can rewrite. Your identity is not fixed. You can evolve. You can learn new skills, develop new traits, build new habits. The mindset of success says I am always a work in progress. Lastly, one of the most life-changing shifts is going from success as achievement to success as alignment. In other words, stop chasing what looks good and start pursuing what feels right. Many people chase money, status, or approval, only to feel empty when they get it. True success is living in alignment with your values, your purpose, and your unique gifts. When your goals match your soul, success feels fulfilling, not just impressive. These shifts don't require a new degree, a massive opportunity, or perfect circumstances. They require you to pause, reflect, and reframe. They're simple, but not easy. They take time, repetition, and conscious effort. But once they become habits, your perspective changes, your confidence grows, and your life begins to move in a different direction. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe to Real Anashamad for more powerful mindset and success strategies. Remember, success isn't just about what you do, it starts with how you think. And every big win begins with a small shift in mindset.